Yeah, we're good. It just came to me. I think this is gonna work. All right, did it. It's funny, right? That, but Facebook will be off now, so we'll see how to go back. Oh yeah, it's good. It's working. Okay, so tell mess up. I can switch. Nice, guys. Sorry, I just did try know what's in this up. I don't. The amount of pidgin I've spoken on this live sessions. I don't speak pidgin in real life. People are bad influence. As a community kuko. As a combustion call, which is in colory live. I speak pidgin intentionally, by the way, because I think that. So when I first started speaking on here, there were people who say that the English was too much. So I was like, I wasn't even speaking big English like that. So I decided to tone it down. Someone said I'll join the bad gang. Yes, so I decided to tone it down because they were complaining and said, I was like, it might be no, Ìpẹ̀lẹ́, bàbá ní òkè o, àní sọ òyìnbó ńláńlá, àbábẹ̀ sì sọ òyìnbó, àbábẹ̀ sì sọ pidgin. Pidgin will limit the algorithm. Well, if you're okay, I speak more English apparently, but it's also important to find a way to relate with the people. If you get what I mean. If you're on YouTube, I apologize. Sorry about it. God will lift us up to the point where this will not be happening. I mean, this is not good. I mean, you guys are special people. I apologize for the back and forth. I think YouTube is good now. Facebook is going to start streaming. Okay. Even when there's a break, I still prefer the way this thing works. This setup is better. I think it's worth. It took me hours yesterday setting this thing up, but I'm really glad we did. Just one more thing though. Just one more thing. Please like the live on YouTube. I notice a number of people are coming in. Thank you very much for coming back. We'll find a way to reduce the number of times we have to have these breaks. So I apologize. Again, technical issues. These things happen. I'm sure you understand. Thank you for understanding. Just a couple of minutes. Just do something. Only kokoton shele tí mo ń dasare ṣe. Pidgin will only limit him to countries where pidgin is spoken, bro. It will not go far. Don't worry. Do I speak pidgin that much? No. I'm just saying that I've spoken more pidgin on these live sessions than I have, than I do in real life. But not to say that I speak a lot. Also. But I will speak Yoruba. I don't care. The network will be fine. Now we own this place. Who owns Lagos? Where are their father? Oh man, can't they walk? Would they go? On they go? On they fear no horror? Who owns Lagos? Now we own Lagos. Now we own the internet. Waiting this up. All right. I think just give me 5 seconds and then. Thank you for joining on YouTube. Please like the live. I'm glad you're here. Let's just double tap on your screen again. If you're just joining us, apologies for having you go in and come back in and all of that. Sorry about that. But please like the live. Thank you. All right, we are back now. So every platform is good. What was I saying before that happened? We're going to get back to the book now. So again, we're reading The Educated Elites in the Nigerian Society by E.B. Ayodele. And if you're just joining, this is part 6C on YouTube. So you may want to go to 6B to get like some of the things we've discussed earlier. And I'm saying this because of those who would watch this much later. Like I always say, YouTube is like a repository. So we have things sessions we've had before. You find them in the live section on YouTube. All right. So where were we? We were where we were. So we're talking about what happened in the Eastern region. What the Eastern regions were saying when they were saying everybody was, tribal and so on and so forth. And we talked about the idea of reciprocity and all those things. All right, let's move on. So this is from the Eastern perspective. The Northerners and Westerners would tolerate a united Nigeria only if the Igbo would become second-rate citizens. They were tired of the Eastern domination scandal and, having reached the limits of human endurance, were convinced that it would not be in their interest to remain in the Federation. They had no choice but to ask to break away from the rest of the country and look for their own destiny as a separate country. For those of you who are writers or speakers or readers, you know these things. I want to ask you a question. Let me know as a question because of time. And it's not going to be very easy for you to type it. Do you know why they use the phrase Eastern domination scandal? Even though for many years before this point, people have specifically mentioned Igbo domination. Even Charles Oyema, who started the old Kini, said it clearly in 1945. Igbo domination of Nigeria is only a matter of time. Igbo domination. So why did they say Eastern domination? Because they were not trying to have an Igbo nation. They were trying to create a new nation from Eastern Nigeria based on the Eastern Nigeria geography. No, not for deflection. It was a case for the minorities in the Eastern region to see themselves as part of them because they were not leaving Nigeria without the minorities. Even though the minorities said no. Which was why what happened in Rivers happened. Why what happened in Cross River and Ẹkáàbọ, that's why it happened. The minority said no. But even then, you had to use the word Eastern domination because you want the other ones to also feel. And by the way, to be fair, the other Easterners also suffered for some of those things. Because in the North, everybody's Igbo. You're not Yoruba. In the East, everybody's Yoruba or Hausa. In the West, if you're not Hausa, you're Igbo. Everybody does this thing. Whilst the academicians were pushing Odumegwu Ojukwu to consider taking Eastern Nigeria out of the Federation, the tribal factor continued to operate within the Nigerian army. Dr. Badru, thank you for adding that. It's a very important point. Whoa, I already know. Okay. It says the ethnic tension became essentially one. Let me go back to the beginning of the paragraph. Whilst the academicians were pushing Odumegwu Ojukwu to consider taking Eastern Nigeria out of the Federation, the tribal factor continued to operate within the Nigerian army. The ethnic tension became essentially one between the North and the East, particularly between the Hausa Fulani and the Igbo. As they had to use the brawn rather than the brain, the gun being their Parker pen, they moved towards each other on 29 July, with the Hausa Fulani gaining the upper hand, and therefore to an extent avenging 15 January 1966. It would appear that at this stage for days, the thinking among the northern troops was that Nigeria had come to an end, and that northerners should recoil to the northern Nigerian shell. Although the emergence of Lieutenant Colonel Yakubu Gowon was destined to change the course of history, entrench the army firmly on the saddle, and for the first time transform a branch of the educated elite, the soldiers, into nation builders, the feeling among the educated elite in the north was that the federation dissolved into a confederation. Therefore, in the paper submitted to the ad hoc conference on the Nigerian Constitution in September 1966, the Northern delegation declared, Central Authority, the following arrangements are recommended for the future association of the country. This is the North. Number 1, the new Nigeria. 1 second. Mo fẹ́ tún jókòó jó. Torí ọ̀rọ̀ yìí ó deep díẹ̀, ó deep. This is what the Northern said. Okay, maybe I should explain something before I start reading. We know what happened in January, Abi? The first school. May was when the unification decree was promulgated. And that was when the Northerners began to fight. And they massacred a lot of Igbos in the north. Right? I also talked about the fact that beyond the decree itself was also the attitude of the Igbos in the north. We talked about this before. You can find that in Beckon to Serve by Shehu Shagari, Tragedy of Victory by Alabi Sama, The Origins of the Civil War by Nnamdi Azikiwe. Those things are there. Thank you very much for the gift. Now, that was in May. In July of 1966, the Northerners struck back and they attacked the Igbos. Right? But when they attacked, what they actually wanted was to break Nigeria up. They wanted to break it up. And it took a number of groups, the American ambassador, the British High Commissioner, the Chief Justice of the Federation, senior civil servants of Northern origin, to be able to tell the soldiers not to, break the country. Because what people like Murtala Muhammad had in mind was to actually move the North out from Ilorin up, just to have their own separate nation and break away from Nigeria. So again, of course, after they were persuaded, Gowon was then appointed head of state, August 1st, 1966. Gowon then came up with the Constitutional Ad hoc Conference in September. That September 66 conference was the one that held at the Federal Palace Hotel, that Ojukwu got people to blow up that building. This was not the war. The war did not begin until July 6, 1967. This was September 1966. Ojukwu was already blowing up buildings in Lagos and in Ore as well. Now, with that thing said, now let's talk about what the Northerners decided, or what the Northerners proposed that Nigeria should be like as of September of 1966. Therefore, in the paper submitted to the ad hoc conference on the Nigerian Constitution in September 1966, the Northern delegation declared, Central Authority, the following arrangements are recommended for the future association of the country. Number 1, the new Nigeria shall comprise a number of autonomous states. Number 2, the autonomous states of Nigeria, that is to say Northern Nigeria, Eastern Nigeria, Western Nigeria, Middle Nigeria, or by whatever name they may choose to be called later, and such other states as may be formed subsequently, should agree to enter a union. The powers of the central executive shall be delegated by the component states, except that powers connected with external or foreign affairs, immigration can be unilaterally withdrawn by the state government. Any member of the state of the union should reserve the right to secede completely and unilaterally from the union. This was before Aburi Akodo. This was before Aburi Accord. This was happening in September of 66. Aburi Accord was January of 67. January 4 and 5. Tribalism was incandescently crystallized during the Civil War when the intellectuals and top civil servants used efficient facilities to inform the outside world that the rest of Nigerians were tribalists, and when the Biafrans were fed on the worst possible hatred of Nigerians. I'm going to wrap up in the next 4 minutes, but it bears repeating. Tribalism was incandescently crystallized during the Civil War when the intellectuals and top civil servants used efficient facilities to inform the outside world. He's talking about Igbo intellectuals. Used efficient facilities to inform the outside world that the rest of Nigerians were tribalists, and when the Biafrans were fed on the worst possible hatred of Nigerians. The history of Nigeria was completely rewritten, and in that new chronicle, the Igbos were innocent and the rest of Nigerians criminals. Tribalism crystallized into racism, in which the Igbo was persuaded to see himself as an embodiment of the virtues that had eluded other Nigerians. The crisis, it was argued, was deep-rooted in the past and had been inspired by the unabated and ever-increasing hostility of the rest of the Nigerian community for the Igbo ever since the British government imposed the British Raj on Nigeria. The Igbo man, the incarnation of all virtues, had been the object of envy by the rest of the Nigerian community, who were much less gifted in spiritual and human talents. The Igbo man was the industrious, enterprising businessman whose commercial ability was used to build up the economy of the country outside the fatherland, an evidence of his unselfishness. A developer. He was by nature cosmopolitan in outlook, hence his sojourning in other parts of the country and the display of neighborliness. He was the most genuine Christian and the arch rejecter of Islam, which he knew before the colonial era could not humanize and civilize the Nigerians to the best level. He was the most zealous patron of Western-style education, and consequently the inheritor of the virtues which this character molding and refiner of manners could confer on anybody. This skill he had put at the disposal of the rest of Nigeria in the civil service, in the press, and in the nationalist movement, and aware of the consolation of independence as the open sesame to the emergence of the Nigerian as a man, he had used his pen as well as his voice to lead the nationalist struggle, believing that a better breed of man would emerge in the Nigerian wise community. He had been the vanguard of pan-Nigerianism and the decrier of tribalism and sectionalism. However, the Igbo man was hated by the rest of Nigeria, who were either incapable of appreciating these virtues or were made to hate him by the British imperialists, who so hated the progress of Africans that they did not want Nigerians to be infected with such attributes that the Igbo had acquired and were displaying. The result was that hostility toward the Igbo gathered momentum and culminated in the massacres of 1966, which pushed them as a rejected people out of the Federation. Somebody said, Achebe said it, I flesh and blood did not reveal that thing to you. That was Achebe. That was Achebe. It was addressed to the Netherlands press on 28th August 1968 at The Hague, Holland. And the other one was also in 1968 August, but this time at Makerere College. Oshik Bombell, but we can't finish it today. We'll continue later. You see how Achebe created this perfect 68, no, they had not surrendered in 68, they didn't surrender until 1970. They didn't surrender until 1970. That was 68 August. It was the same month that Enaoro was in Addis Ababa with Njoko. Nigeria was, somebody said the market in Nigeria. Whatever you see Peter Obi doing, traveling all over the world, talking about how terrible Nigeria is. This man did it in 68. Again, deja vu. Whatever is happening has happened before. The more things change, the more they remain the same. We'll continue from here next week. I'm going to read that thing again next week. So not next week, next time. Because this is actually sweet. My book is actually marked though. I have some very fantastic things that I marked in this book. So when we get there, you're trying to be yakiniko. Somebody say it's the same now online. Yes, it's a template. Why do you think Ojukwu wrote a book full of lies on close to the grave? It's a pattern you cannot let go of. They were just these wonderful people. They wanted to help Nigeria. You know, they wanted Nigeria to become something because they were the ones who were the embodiments of all the virtues of the Oyinbo and Christianity and education, and they had everything just to help everybody. And they put everything at the disposal of Nigerians just to serve everybody because they go everywhere developing the land because they are developers. But Nigerians are not appreciative. Instead of appreciating these people and placing them on a pedestal and bowing to them twice a day, morning and evening, you now push them out of the country. What a bad country. Get well soon. That mindset is still alive today, and that's the sad part. Delusions of grandeur, like what you are not. You are not what you are even. So you can get to a point where, let me tell you what people say: never get high on your supplies. They say it if you are selling, all these people selling drugs. They always say it I see it in movies. Don't get high on your supplies. If you are selling it to people, at least don't believe it. These guys believe it. There is no proof of what they are saying, but they believe it. If you're an Igbo person here, sincerely, I wish you all the best. And I hope that somehow in your journey of life, you break free of this chains. It's mental chains. And by the way, this is not anti-Igbo thing. When it was Yoruba people, I talked about us. And now if you also notice, I'm measured, I'm not fighting, I'm just saying that my prayer for you is that you will break that chain. It's in the mind. It's in the mind. And let me tell you something. You may become an irritant to others, but that's not really the issue. In the north, it was because they were irritants. That's why those ones did what they did. The same thing in the south. In the west, I hope it doesn't get there. But here's the point. Beyond what people would do as a reaction to you irritating them, is what you are doing to yourself and your mind. It's a dangerous thing. It doesn't help, especially the next generation. When we're going to be having children, maybe you even have kids now, what do you pour into them? A child just wakes up in the morning, just gets up in the morning of his life, like we say in Yoruba, and just begins to think everybody hates him. That thing is not that people hate you. It's propaganda from Achebe. And them. And please. You are blessed, but you're not all that. Like, no. Everybody is blessed, but nobody. All this is just nonsense. Like, we'll talk more about it on Wednesday. I want to make sure I'm ending early. We'll be here tomorrow, 1 p.m. if a time West African time. There's something I'm going to I think we should listen to something tomorrow. Why Yoruba said no to Azikiwe in 1951. I think we're going to listen to that tomorrow. Then on Wednesday, we're going to continue with how ethnicity influences Nigerian politics, part 7. Okay. Again, all these conversations, we don't have these conversations to belittle an ethnic group, or it's just that even you, as you hear this thing, your body could feel somehow, no matter where you are from. It's not like the message is not designed to insult you, but some people's history now insult. Like, how can my elders behave like this? It's like when it happens in my own case too now. Like, why are they fighting among themselves? And that one is aligned with Hausa, the other one with Igbo. What kind of nonsense is this? Why are they doing that? So, how do we plug that? That one we're going to go deep into that when we get to Awolowo versus Akintola. That's much later. But we're not doing this, to denigrate or demean any ethnic group. It's just that history is very interesting, and the craziest part is that in Nigeria, it is the group that blames everyone that's actually the culprit. And I'm not saying every other group is perfect, but the loudest is actually the one that has the most problems. Is the one that's created the most problems in Nigeria. But they insult everybody and point fingers. So the thing is not to say you are bad or you are terrible, your ethnic group is Kinikon. It's just to tell you that maybe you should calm your nerves and actually look in your own history and stop pointing accusing fingers, because what you are doing is you are projecting your reality. And what Nigeria should do, again, like I'm canvassing for with this series, is not to wish away our ethnic differences or to hope that it's not going to affect our choices, but to factor that in to whatever structures we are creating going forward. Don't hope that I'll not be Yoruba again. Your hope will never come to pass. Your dreams will always fail if you think I'll not be Yoruba. I'll always be Yoruba. I've been Yoruba before you were born. I've been Yoruba before Nigeria was created. I've been Yoruba before I was even born. I'm Yoruba. Don't fight it. Just create a structure that recognizes me for who I am. Don't try to engineer a nation. This country is over 200 million people. This is not 20,000 human beings. This is, apart from the number, there's no clear majority of any ethnic group. No ethnicity is up to 30% in Nigeria. Think about that for a second. None of us can say we are 30% of Nigeria. The biggest of us are in our 20s, 20-something, 24, 25, 26. Then the other ones, you have 2, you have 1, you have 6, very, like that. We are many. So just our politicians, our legislators have to factor that in. Stop acting as if it doesn't exist. It does. It will always be here, and it is not a problem. If we are putting on our thinking caps, multi-ethnicity that we have in Nigeria is not a problem, and we don't have to be one. We don't. Well, we are nothing. All of us are now Nigeria. I'm not Yoruba. I'm not Hausa. We're all together. It's a lie. See what we have been reading right now. The person doing all these things is one telling you that you should be one Nigeria. See what he's doing for his own ethnic group. See the plan. I have not finished though. We have gotten somewhere, but we still have some pages to cover. It's crazy. He's telling you, forget about Nigeria, be detribalized, forget about your ethnicity. We're all one Nigeria. But he's pushing his own ethnic agenda at your own expense. But you're the tribalist. He's not. That ends. So going forward, I advocate that we don't wish away our differences. We harness our differences. We recognize them. We, in this case, remember the words of the Sardauna when he was told by Zeke that we should forget our differences. So let's forget our differences. The Sardauna said, no, let us understand our differences. Don't forget it. Understand our differences. So I'm hoping that with this, you're not hating on anybody, but you're not trying to become anybody. I'm not asking anybody to become me. Be you. but don't mind big wá sọ́dọ̀ pé kí n gbàgbé bí mo ti ń bọ̀. Kò sí nǹkan tó ń mú wá tó dáa tó nǹkan tí mo ní. There's nothing you are giving to me as an alternative that is better than what I possess. You are the one who needs me in that sense, because clearly some civilizations, some people are civilized, some people are, it is well, but you get the point. All right, we'll bring people up and then we'll have the next 15-20 minutes and then we'll close the session for today. We'll be here tomorrow 1 p.m. if time, West African time. It's going to be a short session, ends by 3:30. So please join us tomorrow 1 p.m. Ife time, West African time. Wednesday we'll continue the series. We're going to have a great time. If you'd like to contribute, we have 3 people now. As soon as you come up, please it's actually funny. That means what's it going to be here? That's the beautiful thing about Nigeria. You also say, by the way, even if I told you I was not in Nigeria, now you know. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Anyway, if you'd like to contribute, okay, we have some people. Please, as soon as you get up, please mute yourselves, and then we'll call on you. We'll have your contributions. We have 15 minutes for this, so please, thank you very much. And thank you, everybody, for listening. I hope you had a great time. I hope you've learned something. I hope you've discovered some things in our history. Nigerian politics a lot better, and also other ethnic groups. We should know ourselves so that so easy for all right, so please mute. Thank you. All right, so we're going to have Eleni first, and then we'll have the other two. Please, let's try and limit it to 2 to 3 minutes. Thank you. Please mute. Please mute. CEO, you don't mute though. Eleni, please go on. Please limit it to 2 to 3 minutes. Thank you. Evening, sir.
All right. Great work, great work. Listening to you is always, it's been giving me mixed feeling. We are learning so many things and it's eye-opening. Then on the other side, it's somewhat scary because most of our people are not aware of these things. And for me, you know, the Bible said a Pharaoh arose that didn't know Joseph. And that was what led the children of Israel into bondage. Because you usually say something that some of our elders know these things, but I don't think the percentage that know these things, they are not sufficient enough. So I'm thinking, what can we do so that even if push comes to shove, that structures have been put in place. Let's assume maybe a generation goes now, and those that don't know take over, but so that structures have been put in place so that the clannish and the plans of these people towards us doesn't manifest. And I'm just thinking, why not we just have our House of Rep to go back to what Baba Awolowo was proposing, the secession clause and all of that, so that even if we come to shove, our people still have this sort of protection. Because when I engage an average Omoduabi on the streets, the response and everything is, this one you are listening to, you are going to the extreme and all of that. So I would want you to react to my proposition, which is also coming as a question.
All right, thank you, sir. So let's start with the first one. I really do hope those people don't think this is what extremism is, because I try. I'm not perfect, but we try. Oh, by the way, I just remembered now. Sorry, I just remembered. All right. We try. Again, I'm not perfect, but it's not extremism. So here's the issue. You know, sometimes you can be comfortable in your ignorance, that even when somebody comes to you with help, you think they're trying to hurt you. And I think for the most part, please mute. I think for the most, yes, sir. I think for the most part, that's the experience of a lot of people. So for instance, sometimes let me say something. You know, sometimes you read books. If this has happened to you before, please let me know. I don't think it's only me. You discover some things sometimes, you leave the book and you just walk away. Like you are trying to let it, maybe you are trying to believe it, you're trying to let it sink in, you're trying to acknowledge or welcome it. You just leave the book and you walk away. Like, can be like this, yeah. Okay, if you have this thing when you some people are saying yes, it happens, thank you. Sometimes it has different effects in different people. For instance, people have asked me, I don't, by the way, there's a lot to still learn, to be clear. But they say things like, oh, you know this thing, so why are you not forceful about the Igbos? Why don't you just cut everything? And I'm like, maybe because I also know the things I'm not saying. And it is true, what you said, that even a lot of our elders do not know these things. And some of them know they will not talk, especially the ones in, I'm not talking about the politicians, I'm talking about our one. Let me say something. You know, the most visible people are not necessarily the most powerful people in Nigeria. In the world, even American politics, the most visible are not the most powerful. The most powerful people, you may not even know their names, or you may know them and don't even understand like what's the big deal. But nothing moves with that person. I'm sorry, I'm trying to, because of my throat. Nothing moves without the people, without those people saying so. Those ones are the ones I'm talking about. I'm not talking about our general. I'm not saying our elders in terms of Auntoda Gwajualo. Some others don't know too. Like I said, these things hide in plain sight. They are there. There's no book I've read here that about, especially about this whole ethnicity thing, that was published after 1990. Many of them were published in the 60s and 70s. They have been there. How do we get it across to people? By talking about it, by sharing the life, by, you know, also by using different other forms of communication. Now we're talking, just like a podcast, but the other things that we're hoping to do, you know, animation, movies and plays and things like that. But by the way, the first thing we're doing right now is we're doing studio first. So if you want to support what we're setting up a studio, so that's the first thing. That's our project that we're working on right now. But the way to get some of these things out, you know, animations, movies, plays, these are different ways that we're looking at, and I hope you support us to get it done. Now, to the other one about the politicians, sincerely, even if they know some of these things, they will use this as a weapon for themselves. How does that now benefit the people? I think the first thing is that we must understand the fact that most societies aren't built around politicians, especially when it comes to knowledge economy. If you're trying to pass knowledge across to people, or you're trying to get information about some things to people, whilst it's great to have the government support and everything, one must also have to think outside that. Like, with or without the government, you should be able to communicate what you want to communicate, which is why I was talking about the other things. I don't know if I've answered your question, but there's something I cannot answer. Only people will know the answer. But I'll say this. A lot of our elders, not when I say elders, by the way, I'm not talking about, my dad did not know these things. And my dad, because what's his business with all these things? All right? We're all happy Nigerians, everything is fine. My dad didn't have time for, let me put it this way, I don't think my dad knew these things. And he was, in 1960, my dad was even a small boy in 1960. By 68, I mean, my dad was married. So this is not a, but sometimes I don't really care about some of those details. Just, you know, just leave. But why is it important? Again, like I always say, it's not because you hate anybody, and that's another problem. So one of the things I think our leaders have also done is this. I think there's a concern for how people will take some information. And I think that's also what, that's also one of the reasons I say what I say the way I say it. There are other ways of saying what I'm saying, You can weaponize some of these things. There's some words I will pause and explain. You don't have to do it. If I decide to read this thing the way Achebe would have done it, Loma Jakare show. So the reason they want us in ignorance in some cases is because you can't trust human beings with some information, especially if it's in the hands of, like I said, most of the things that we even talk about are the things that we can talk about. The other things you can't mention, but at least the basic ones. And they are worst things. So imagine what they know. All of that to say that let's all be good people, great nation, don't weaponize history, it's all with everybody. We have to move on now.
Is there any system being put in place so that to preserve the Yoruba race, so that even if a generation comes up now that doesn't know this thing, but the system has been put in place, that
we are the ones that will put that system in place.
Okay, how do we do that now? Because now, for me, most of the people I interact with, Christian, hey, don't hate people, love, forgive your neighbor, love your enemy, and all of that. They seem to dwell on those. Even my dad of late, when I engage him, he would see the reason, because at times he listens to you, he would tell me, love your presentation. But he would feel,
sorry. Where's your dad?
He's in Lagos here, but I live on the island.
Okay.
He was in love. He's a lover of Awolowo and all of that, but he doesn't know most of these things in depth, like you are saying it now. So anytime you are talking about Awolowo, but anytime you are going towards the Igbo, it will be like forgiveness is in the past and all of that. You get? And for me, it's scary. And most people I engage with, just like this Christian ethos, like the Omoluabi is there, but
my brother, because of time, we'll be the ones who are waiting for. There's nobody creating anything for anybody. We are the ones that will create the system to ensure that people get the message. But also we have to be careful how we share the message. So that's why if you notice the way I say it, we have to be intentional about how we share it. Like, it's not based on hate, it's based on love for our people. The structure that we're looking for, we're the ones that will create it. How we're going to create it is not a conversation that we can have here right now. But it's something we can work on. And basically it's just to curate stuff, right? The YouTube channel, for instance, contains a lot of information, but there's also another way there are different ways to get the message out to people. And I've mentioned different other ways. And we're going to get to the point where we're going to put it out there, God helping us, but also just to say that there's nobody that will do these things about us. That's the point. All right. And like I said, there is a lot more that we haven't said. So there are three different things. Number one is things I cannot say. Number two are the things I can say. Number three are the things I have said. The things I cannot say is not because, it's a sin. It's just because people have to mature to a point to get some information. I'm saying as a nation. Because even the ones who are saying, like you said now, they say, I forgive and forget. Okay. Love your neighbor as you love yourself. Forgive people so you don't have a problem with your heart, but don't go and be doing naivety. Anyway, the point is, we'll be the ones to do it. When the time comes, we'll work on it. But we have to move very fast. Let's go to CEO Coded, please. CEO, good afternoon, good evening. I have another.
Hello, good evening.
15 minutes.
We are back.
Good evening.
Good evening. We are back.
Good evening, CEO. Yes, but we are going to use max 3 minutes, please.
Okay, I'll try and rush through it. Okay, thank you. Okay, quick one. In my head while you were talking, we need to actually thank Baba Awolowo for what he did, him and his gang back then. Otherwise, in terms of call Alamaso, maybe they will have changed your name to Chukwuemeka something. So, but we thank God for where we are. Then secondly, in my head while you were talking, I was thinking, do the Igbos have some promise of military assistance from anywhere in the world apart from, because in 1963 the population of Nigeria was about maybe about 56 million or thereabouts. Out of that, the Igbos were just 8 million. And I'm trying to imagine how 8 million people could conquer like the rest of
people.
Nigeria.
No, the people did not fight Nigeria. It's the soldiers that fought Nigerian soldiers.
No. Let me land. I'm going somewhere. This is my context now. Now, you want to dominate the entire nation of 56 million. You are 8 million people. And I don't see a way for you to achieve that politically, in whichever way. Because by population, they will outvote you. You are not creating strategic alliance, but you just want to dominate. Unless you have some superior military might, which is probably the only way you could conquer the entire nation and subdue them for you to be able to achieve your lifetime ambition. Or because it's not a temporary thing, it was like a continuous thing. As in, they want to be the head of Nigeria. They want to subjugate every ethnic military strength somewhere that we all don't know about. I don't see how that can be achieved politically. Then
they were not sorry, were they trying to do it politically?
I don't see how it can be achieved politically. It's just my own conclusion that there was never a way it could have been achieved politically. And militarily, fine, they probably may have superior officers in the military than other tribes, but the infantry soldiers, I'm not entirely sure they control that. You can see the North has a bigger population in terms of infantry than every other tribe in Nigeria. Now, and thank God, again, when I listen to you, I thank God for the 2023 election, because Yorubas have been jolly good fellows. We're just like, oh, ma ba won ja, ma ba won fa wahala, je kon live and let live, that kind of docile arrangement. But 2023 brought out a lot of things in these people, and that is why a lot of us now are now actually actively seeking for information and knowledge. Okay, what exactly happened? How did we get here? Only for us to realize that this is not a new thing. This whole thing has happened before. And then in my head, while you were talking, I was thinking back to January to July 1966, and like this is the 6 months that shaped the history of a nation completely. Those 6 months were very critical in the history of Nigeria. Then also, I'm thinking in my head, like you said, we cannot weaponize this, but we need to also know. And in my head, I'm thinking, how do I communicate this information to my children without necessarily developing in them some sort of hatred for the other tribe? And then, but also in my mind, I'm thinking, can there be a reconciliation or peace without some form of accountability? Because people need to be accountable for what they have done and realize this. But I don't see these people honing up to any of these things, because they are still doing it and they will continue to do it till the kingdom come. Like you made a mention of the guy that accosted you and was like, and I was asking you if everything that you had been told was a lie. I mean, that kind of person is not ready to change, and I'm not sure it can be reprogrammed to believe a new theory rather than the ones that you have been indoctrinated with for I don't know how many years, I don't know how old he is, maybe for 10 years, 20 years, 15 years, 30 years, whatsoever. I mean, I was on a platform 2 days ago, no, yesterday actually, and we're talking about this seaport, and I went through a whole lot trying to explain the airport and the seaport theory and how it came to be. But there was still a lot of opposition. And I'm like, look, the best I can do is to explain. I cannot force you to believe it. If you want to be smart, you can go do some research to back up, to further reinforce your understanding of what I've said. So I don't know how that accountability is going to happen. But at some point, I think there has to be some form of accountability. And why you said we cannot weaponize history, but the information needs to be out there for who cares to learn, to know, and be aware of things that their leaders, our leaders, and everybody did to contribute to how the destiny of Nigeria was derailed within that 6 months. 6 months critical. Prior to that, a lot of things have happened, but that 6 months was the most critical part in the history of Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you very much, CEO Coded. You say a lot of great stuff. Just one thing I wanted to respond to. How do we teach our children by telling them what is appropriate, by telling them what they need to know at an appropriate age. In other words, you can only tell them what they need to know based on where they are. You're not feeding them stuff that will make them begin to suspect folks from any other group. The first thing I would advise is that people are actually inculcating them, especially for Yoruba people, the greatness of what it means to be Yoruba, what it means to be from your town, what it means to be from your family, what it means to be Yoruba. That has to be taught. In other words, it's not about outsiders. The person first knows these things. They also know their duties to other Nigerians, like to people generally, whether they are in Nigeria or they're abroad. Their duty to people, just be good, be clinical. And then they get to a particular age, they begin to know about specific periods in Nigerian history. And then when you're telling them those things, you also have to have a mindset that you are teaching your child to protect your child, to harm your child because you love your child, not because you hate other people. Guys, you know the reason I do this thing? It may sound like, give it to them. The reason is because the people who say give it to them, look at their region. That's the answer to that question. And the giving they are giving, I'm speaking Yoruba now in English. The giving they are giving them is even the wrong information, but it shows hatred. So look at the appropriate age. What does the child know? And the beginning is not even about what happened to Igbo or anything. The beginning is, who are you as a Yoruba boy? Who are you as a Yoruba girl? Who are your heroes? These are family. These are Oriki. That's where it begins. Once that is shaking in, your responsibility to humanity, how you should behave and things like that, as they grow, it will get to a particular point. Even they will begin to ask certain questions. It might actually be them that will make you talk. But when you do, also remember that you're not doing this because you are trying to create enmity. You're just telling your children the truth. So tell them what happened, and also tell them, as you tell them the truth. I mean, my kids hear me say these things every time. My children walk, past sometimes. I don't want them to hear something and say, is that Daddy? They also have to be able to know that from your heart, it's like, it's not hate for others. You don't want to have that in your home, especially with your children. It has far-reaching consequences. But yes, we should teach our children. But again, start with their identity, then their responsibility. Then as they go on, you begin to tell them about details of what happened with love, with KKK. But that's a very, very important stuff that CEO mentioned. We have to pass it on to the next generation. And there are different ways of doing it. And we'll get into all of that very soon. All right. When you are, let me tell you one funny thing. When you are secure in being Yoruba, when you are secure to a particular point, when riffraffs come with nonsense, it just drops off of you. Like, it doesn't mean anything to you, because you already know who you are. That, and then of course, if you're a person of faith, as a Christian, you also have to know who they are in Christ. Those two things are the primary things that are important. Who you are as a Yoruba man, who you are, I mean, for me as a Christian, who you are in Christ is also very important. It gives you this sense of confidence, and it also helps you with your understanding of environment. So as a Yoruba person, because Yoruba women are dirty. That's where it starts now. Yoruba food is not sweet. Yoruba language is ras. Why are you speaking your language? That is where it starts. They don't start from civil war. They start with those things. They're trying to whittle away at your identity. I mean, fight, just trying to remove things that you should be proud of. Then later on, now begin to penetrate. Here in Nigeria is a zoo. Why? Because they did this to me. They did that to me. Your children will ask questions. And please, when they ask, let's also study so I will have the right questions to tell them. But thank you very much for being here. Finance week, I think, is busy. I did it. Or we did it, because I was looking at the time, it was 7:20. So we did it. Although I wanted to leave earlier, but it's still good. And by the way, thank you everybody for getting us to 200K. This is fantastic. Let me share. Thank you for getting us to 200.4k likes today. Beautiful stuff, and I really appreciate it. Oh, okay. Okay, you're going to be very fast, please.
Yes. Okay, no problem, sir. Good evening, sir. Been
Good
a while.
evening. Otojo Meta.
Yes.
Good to see you.
Just finished my year one, so it was
Oh, nice.
a coursework. Yes.
By the way,
Yes,
the year one that is saying is not undergraduate too. He's one big man. But I'm listening to you.
Well done, sir. And you said some things the other time, and that's what I really want to comment on about the fact that they like to bring up this proposition of removing tribe, removing ethnicity. Let me do this. Let me my space. You see, the question is, why will you do something in your space and then you are asking me to do the same thing in my space? Like, who sent you? Are you doing it in your space because you want me to reciprocate?
Yes.
Why do you want me to reciprocate? When we did we have that understanding, or when did you have that memorandum of understanding or that agreement that if I do something in my space, you have to do the same thing in your space? You see, next year we'll make it 60 years. January 15 will make it 60 years. We had the first coup in Nigeria. Then 1967 we'll make it 60 years when the civil war commenced and every other thing. But unfortunately, these people over time have still not emerged. They've not evolved. Sorry, Paavo said they have been irredeemably retarded. Yes, said they have been irredeemably retarded.
No, he was talking about Juku. He was talking about Juku being irredeemable. Then their own leaders said that they had 2 million permanently irreversibly retarded people. But Awolowo did not say that the people are irredeemably retarded.
The people, okay, it was their own people. It was their own people.
It was their own people that said it. Yes, Igbo leaders said 2 million Igbo children were permanently irreversibly retarded. They said it.
Okay, all right. So, and by the time you look at it, the same thing is still one way or the other snowballing into today's contemporary age. Sometimes Nigerian history can be very current than tomorrow's news, honestly, that is even yet to come. And my advice is that you started a good job, sir. And my advice is that we will keep putting the structures in place. It is our own duty to put the structures in place in such a way that by the time these people start their gimmick again, we will know where they are coming from. We will know their aim. Their aim remains the same. They did it in the First Republic. They wanted to do it through the indigenization bill. One state of recent is trying to propose that. I think is it Abia or what is it Anambra trying to propose the same thing. It can't work. You see, this is a population of over 200 million. But if you are here, you are Yoruba, especially to we Christians. You see, let's understand that the Bible in the book of Revelations 5 verse, is it 10? 9 and 10, it said we have been called out of different tribes and different nations. Why that is true, that is in the church. But when it comes to politics of the land, let's not, because of that, no, we can't. So let's be well guided. Yes, thank you. God created tribe. The Bible said nothing ever was made it said in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. If there was anything you see that is in existence, it was made by the Word, including tribe. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. I'm laughing because you said, when you said I said that's in the church.
Church in
That's called as a kingdom of. So it's not in the. No, he called us to be kingdom of kings and priests, and we shall reign on earth. Revelation 5 verse 6. Is it 5 verse 10? It's in two scriptures, 1 verse 6, 5 verse 10. Anyway, here's the point. So there's a scripture that says that, I'm looking for it, if I find it, I'll read it to you, where it talks about, I think it's Revelation as well, must be, 1 second, let me find it. Oh boy.
I think it's Revelation chapter 5 verse 12. No, 5 verse 9 and 10. 5 verse 9 and 10. Revelations 5, 9, and 10.
Okay. The one I'm looking for, what you're talking about is Revelation chapter 5, verse 10. The one I'm looking for is under one. Is I think it's 15. Yes. No, it's 5 verse 9. They sang a new song, "Worthy are you to take the scroll and open its seals, because you were slain, and by your blood you purchased for God those from every tribe and tongue and people and nation." If you get the tribalized, they will not find you in heaven. But seriously, I think the point you're trying to make is very, very important. Well, I think they use it for Christians a lot. The gentleman that came up here earlier also mentioned it. Christians are very... Your job as a Christian is not hate. Not that you will be blind to the reality of what's around you. Adegold, what you wrote here right now is actually very, very, very disrespectful to your fellow Yoruba person. I don't know if you are trying to... Maybe you are making a point. I don't know, Sha, but maybe I don't even understand what you're writing, Sha. Hopefully, if you can explain, I'll get it. But here's what I'm trying to say. Christianity, anything can be weaponized, and people will hide under it. I mean, the person that was shouting, "Church, take back your country." When was the last time you saw him in a church? He was going from vigil to vigil. When was the last time? After a while, didn't he say that he's going to close down factories that people will not be praying? Instead of praying vigils, they'll be doing work in factory. They're just using religion they're just weaponizing religion, using religion to curry favors. So if you're a Christian, all this thing, your job is you don't hate, right? But not that you... It's like, imagine... Okay, let me ask you a question. A very simple question to Christians. I'm a Christian, by the way, and I love the fact that Jesus died for me. I want to ask you a question. Why do we have chaplaincy in the army? Knowing full well that we're not supposed to murder. We're not supposed to kill. But thou shalt not kill, Abi. The Bible says thou shalt not kill. But we have an army that will definitely kill, and we have chaplaincy in the army. You see, killing, it depends on intent. If you are killing people for fun, you are murdering people, you'll be judged. If you are killing people to protect your own, it's home defense. So it's self-defense. If you kill people for your country, you are protecting the integrity of your nation. And the priest or the chaplain will not come to you and tell you that you're going to hell. I think, to be honest, right, Christianity, religion for most of us generally is very surface level, especially in Africa. Very surface level. We didn't really go deep. And I've said it several times. Most of us, our relationship with God is based on what we want. Not based on who he is, not based on what he says, not based on revelations, just based on what we want him to do. It's transactional. When it comes to our faith, it's the basic Sunday school thing of thou shalt not lie, thou shalt not do that. Meanwhile, you know what you do. The real fact is that as you mature in your faith, you know the difference between... The Bible says that strong meat belongs to those who by reason of use have their senses exercised to discern between good and evil. Hebrews chapter 5. The truth is that you know exactly what you are doing per time. You know what you are saying. You know when to be firm. You know when to be... The point is that nothing is coming because you hate anybody. For me, I think that's what is important as a Christian. And if you know how we try, you know that nobody hates anybody. But that you not collect, you will collect. And I will do it in the name of the Lord. Even Jesus beat people out of the temple. Jesus, temple. So we can beat people in the name of the Lord. And I hope in the next election, people will not be beaten in the name of the Lord. You can beat people in the name of the Lord. Jesus wired people. This Christianity of docility, when people can just come and do whatever they want to do in your land, and they can't do anything. You can't do anything because you're a Christian, or you can't do anything because you're Omoluabi. No. Your Omoluabi requires that you defend that land, because that's the only thing you can pass to your children. Your Christianity even demands that you defend that place, because if it's taken away from you, where are you going to practice your Christianity? We've got to be smart. We've got to be very careful. Again, there are extremes, and I'm not asking for anybody to go extreme. Oh, are they good? Oh, I get you now. People in the comment section, please be helping me. When you type, please be explicit. When you type simple thing like that, you know, Pelela Kolabo, and like we all know, meanings get lost in translation when you type. So please try and explain so that it will be easy for me to get. So all of that to just say that may God help us. I found the scripture I was looking for. Is Revelation 7 verse 9. After this, I looked and saw a multitude too large to count, from every nation and tribe and people and tongue, standing before the throne and before the Lamb. They were wearing white robes and holding palm branches in their hands. This idea that we'll forget our tribe, even God did not forget our tribes. Or
that same
ethnicity,
lion
or our nation.
is the lion of the tribe of Judah.
God bless you. God bless you. So God bless all of us, Christians, Muslims, traditional worshippers, whatever you do, defend what is yours, but don't do it based on hate. Don't go to the extreme, because it's easy to jump in that place. But please just stay on topic. Abi? Yeah. Thank you everyone who has been part of today's conversation. Thank you very much for liking and typing and sharing and everything you've done. I really do appreciate your support. Those who have given gifts, I have seen a number of stuff. Thank you for the hearts and for the roses and for the everything. Thank you. Money Guns on TikTok. Thank you for your generosity. If you'd like to support what we're doing, please, you can use the bank details that's showing on the screen. And then you can support us. Like I said earlier, we're working on a project right now, trying to build a studio. I don't know. It depends on how fast the money comes. It might happen now, but I know it's going to happen before the end of this year. It's a major stuff. I mean, I have a design and stuff. I have a gimme in mind. I have a plan I have a design in mind. But if you'd like to be part of it, please reach out and we'll let you. And also, you can use the bank details to support what we're doing. Thank you very much for being here. We'll be here again tomorrow, 1 p.m. Ife time, West African time. I'm going to continue the conversation on. Again, let me look at the title. I think it's about Zika 1951. 1 second, please. Why Yoruba said no to Azikiwe in 1951. That will be for tomorrow. And then on Wednesday, we're going to continue with ethnicity and politics in Nigeria. How ethnicity influences politics in Nigeria. Let nobody lie to you. It does have a lot of influence, great influence in the way we do things. It doesn't have to be negative. It can be positive. Thank you very much for being part of today's session. We're going to have our anthems now, the Nigerian anthem and also the Yoruba anthem. For folks on YouTube, it's been a pleasure, right, having you join us. Thank you very much. We had a little hiccup earlier, but many of you still came back. So thank you very much for coming back, and I hope you had a great time. And folks on Twitter, on Facebook, we have a number. We streamed on a number of platforms today just to test. Tomorrow is going to be. Tomorrow will be a lot better, and also by Wednesday, it's my okay go. So you can see tomorrow at 1 p.m. So folks on YouTube, we're going to have to let you go because whenever I want to play our anthems, we usually have this thing with copyright, right? But thank you very much for being here. May God bless you and keep you. For all of us, whatever you lay your hands upon will prosper. And go Europe, Aburu said in Kenny Noah. We'll be about for Juicy Phone or Lower. Amarion or Mbe. But I for Juicy Ghana, Amarion or Mbe. So I'm going to play the anthem. Babati, you're going to come up. I sent you I brought you, but maybe it was a network. So please, tomorrow, 1 p.m. The music again, like we did today, it's not going to be very long so that we can get right into it sharp. So have a lovely evening, folks on YouTube. I'll see you tomorrow, 1 p.m. Ife time, West African time. God bless you.